Certainly not yours. So I thought that's they're right here.
Oh, okay.
Morning. Congratulations. Couldn't pronounce your name. Couldn't pronounce your name. Oh, on the radio.
Which radio?
106, well, Bob.
I got a phone call yesterday from her over in June. She's like, I didn't know you were running for sheriff, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
No.
Yeah, the radio stations over in that area had like they had like a press release thing that they were supposed to read on the radio, and they had me running against Brett. And her brother works there, so he trained him out. I love it. You can just I mean, I thought it was kind of a funny yesterday morning.
Well, congratulations. Yes.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. It was a meeting properly noticed.
Yeah, what?
We'll call, Rick is excused. Scott has joined us via Zoom. I would take the motion to approve the agenda. So moved by Mike, second by Don. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Minutes from October 12th. Motion to approve, please, Don. Looking for a second, Mike. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Any opposition? Minutes stand approved. Correspondence.
None.
Project status, Kyle.
So I'm filling in for Kyle at the moment, the project status. You guys have any questions on that? Yes, one update for that is that the sheriff's department received their squad cars here in the past couple of weeks, so we're just in the process of getting the equipment installed.
And Mike.
Could you bring up the project report on the screen, please?
On my screen here. Can't get in.
And go down to the sheriff's, my question was on the AEDs for patrol vehicles in the jail. There's nothing after the estimated cost, and I'm wondering if there's been a purchase that has been made, or if it's out for bid, or.
We haven't made a purchase with that yet.
So it's just a proposal that you want them.
Those were anticipated that we needed those, but at this point, we're not sure that we need to purchase those, so that's why we haven't done that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Let's try that. Any other questions? Thanks, Kyle.
You're welcome.
All right, moving on. The Honorable Judge Bonin.
Okay.
Morning. Not a lot to report. It's actually our off month, but I think I told you last month I would come back and update about the registered and probate judicial assistant and juvenile clerk judicial assistant positions. So we have made an appointment to the second position. Miranda Christensen, who's currently in the clerk of court's office, will be starting December 1st. So we're working with Lori on that transition and getting the workstation set up for the new position. We're also working on space and where the two positions will physically be in the court space. We have really kind of gotten the second courtroom more up and running. I had a pretty restricted caseload, as you know, because of the VA conflicts. Rebecca's office has done an awesome job. I think all of the backlog, which wasn't terrible, has been charged, which means all of my conflicts are now gone. So I can start taking criminal cases pretty soon. And in fact, Lori and Judge Wood and I talked yesterday about getting a plan together for that to happen. So once I start doing that, it will more evenly divide the caseload between Judge Wood and I. And then I'm not sure if the expenditure report got to you this month. Okay, I'll talk to Kyle about, I'm not sure exactly who that's going to on Skyward anymore, but I'll make sure it comes to me and I'll get it to you or to Melissa every month. So I can answer questions about that next month. Unless you have any questions for me, that's pretty much it for this month.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. All right, we will move on. Rebecca.
You want me to? I know it says I'm not in attendance, but as the court schedule allowed, I'm able to be here today. So I know I have not attended since Judge Bonnet's departure from the office. I wanted to make sure I was here when I could be. I don't know how much of an update there really is. We are fully staffed. And we were lucky enough to get two very senior assistant district attorneys who come with many, many years' experience, which has been extremely helpful to me. But other than that, I don't know what you would like to hear. So if there's any questions on the expense report or any questions for me, I'll answer them as best I can.
Any questions? Thank you. Is Marge by chance on Zoom? Okay, so Marge is absent. I overlooked that, so. All right, moving on. Child support, Janet.
Good morning.
Morning.
We're doing great in our numbers. We're amazing in the current support collection rate right now. This was our first month in the new fiscal year, so we're gonna try to keep it up. Any questions on that or my check summary and expenditures? We're right on track with the budget. Doesn't look like it. Okay, so we did do the CCAP wages conversion, 14 of the southern counties on October 25th, and they've halted all conversions for any more counties because of problems with, a lot of the clerk of courts don't get along as well with the child support agency as we do. So we have a great working relationship and it's not a problem trying to get the documents we need pushed through with ours, but the bigger counties are having some issues. So they're trying to figure out all the bugs for the rest of the counties, but right now we're working with a new system and it seems to be working great. And any bugs we find, we work out with Lori and her staff, so we're doing okay. Tax intercept, the last report was not available. That's usually not published until about the 10th of the month, so I'll update the numbers for you next month. And that's about it on my report. I do have the every couple year resolution that we ask the board to pass in support of increased child support funding. We've done this for many, many years. The Public Affairs Counselor puts this together with our Wisconsin Child Support Enforcement Agency and Wisconsin County Association. They give us the template and we just plug in our county name. So far, Rock County, Shawano, Sharon, Wood have all passed these resolutions. So are there any questions on the resolution in support of increased county child support funding?
I don't see any.
Everybody's so quiet today.
So we need to act on that resolution.
Yes, please.
Motion by Don,
I'll second it.
second by Mike. Any discussion regarding that? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote, and all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Hearing none, we will have stand approved and go on to the county board.
Thank you so much, and may I please be excused, we're a little shorthanded today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, clerk of court. The newly elected Lori Bond.
Good morning. First, any questions on the written reporter expenditures?
I'm sorry, Larry.
I said any questions on the written reporter expenditures?
Mr.
Chairman,
Baker. I'll get it right, Mr. Baker.
now that Miranda Christensen is gonna be taking on a different position, does that leave you short staffed again in your office?
Yes, we are in the process. We have the job description out there. We're in the process of receiving applications right now. I think as of today, it goes through noon on Tuesday. As of today, I believe there was 11 applicants that we're going through right now, so.
Now, of those 11, how many are currently county employees trying to transfer to a different
Actually,
position?
I believe one of them
Okay.
might be,
Thank you.
that I know of right now. And then we're also, obviously it hasn't been passed by the county board yet, so we're kind of like in limbo. Absorbing, the plan is to absorb community service into our office, which there's sort of a branch of our office anyways. But, Kathy has already put in her resignation for, retirement, the part-time in community service. And we would absorb Carrie into our office and start the training as soon as that we get the okay on that. So, a lot of new people. And so, I mean, Mindy, Hams, was our most recent hire, and she was very quiet and very scared to do things on her own, but she's made a complete 180 in the last week. She's doing a fantastic job. We're getting there.
Okay. Anything else, Lori?
Nope, not unless anybody has any questions.
Doesn't look like it. Scott? Any questions? Guess not.
Nope.
I'm going to be asked to be excused because I am short staffed today. I have one on vacation and one that had asked to be off prior to a couple of things that were put on the calendar, so. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. All right, emergency management. Jane had her report. Any questions on that? Mike,
Did you bring up the, and a little more. Back up to the first page here. Okay, the question I have, and is Jane available? No.
I did not see that.
And maybe somebody else can answer the question. On the top two lines, it looks like there's some type of grants that were received. Maybe Cynthia can answer that.
I can't see it, sorry.
What is it? I'm on. Bob, this is Jane. I'm on.
go ahead, Jane.
What was the question? I couldn't hardly hear that. I'm on the phone.
The EMPG grant and the state grant for other public safety that are on your activity report. It looks like you were given these grants but they haven't been utilized yet, if I'm reading this correctly. And if I am reading it correctly, is there an expiration date or anything that these grants have to be used up by?
So the first one, the 2023 Emergency Management Performance Grant and the APCRA, the Emergency Planning Community Right to Know Act, that is a grant that is for next year. And we had to have that grant in this year by October. Generally, those grants run from October 1st through the following year, September 30th. They changed the grant year this year. Well, starting next year, it's going to be from January 1st through December 31st. We've been trying that for years to get Wisconsin Emergency Management to change it to our calendar year, but they never did that. And finally, this year they have changed it and they extended our 2022 grant through December 31st. So this year we have until December 31st to finish everything for our plan of work, everything that we have to submit to the state. And the first one for 2023 is for next year. So everything for this year has to be in by December 31st and January 30th. They give us two different dates. Next year, it will have to be in by December 31st. Does that answer your question?
Well, hold on a minute, Jane.
Oh, I just say, Mr. Chair,
Yeah, go ahead.
Jane, this is an expense reimbursement type grant, correct?
Pardon?
This grant is an expense reimbursement grant? In other words, they don't front load.
So the Emergency Management Performance Grant is reimbursed through the state, and typically that goes back in the budget for my salary. It goes towards my salary, and that generally consists of about 32,000. This year, I believe it's 30. I want to say it's 30. Usually 28 to 30,000. It's approximately, I don't have it in front of me right now, 32,000. It did go up this year because they gave us extra for COVID. And then the Emergency Planning Community Right to Know grant went up this year to $6,791. And that gets put back in.
Mr. Chair, sorry to interrupt Jane there, but expense reimbursement type grants, you have to submit your expenditures and then you get the reimbursement. So it's budgeted at this number. We may or may not get that number. It is a budget. A budget is projection on a grant. So the reason you're not seeing any activity, as Jane has indicated, is that she's got until December to submit those expenses to get the reimbursement then from the state. That's probably why you're not seeing any activity.
So what happens is Wisconsin Emergency Management sends out an estimate the year prior, like for next year, we already got the estimates for next year. They should send out something. We always hope in, near the end of the year to know exactly what that reimbursement will be. It's usually pretty close to their estimate, and that is always what we receive back.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was thanking her for the information, that's all.
Okay.
You're
All right,
welcome.
James. Thanks.
Mr. Chair,
Someone else.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah. Oh, Scott.
can you hear? Yeah,
Yeah.
can you hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
My question's on not more of a point than anything on the red for about $20,000 every year. That's part of what we're looking at for the building fund to move emergency management. So we're not out $20,000 every year, just a point interest.
What was can I ask what you're referring to $20,000?
The rent for the, I take it's for your emergency equipment and stuff at the village.
The rent that we're receiving from Bug Tussle, or the rent that we're paying for the command trailer? The command
Oh, I'm
trailer
sorry.
at the
I was
village.
thinking that.
So we're actually giving $547.50 to the village for storage of the command trailer. The other is rent, and that's revenue from that's from many years ago when I brought to the committee asking if we could add. Bug Tussle was interested in adding to our communication tower site out at County F, and that's been rent that is appropriated from them each year. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, correct. I'm sorry. I just want to make
okay.
a point that we are renting from the village for space for your equipment.
Yep. Yep.
Scott, did you find that on the expense side?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yep. All right. Anything else? If not, we'll move on. Thanks, Jane.
Yep. You're welcome. Have a good day.
Thanks. Medical examiner. Any issues on any report? Mr. Baker.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just wondering if anybody knows, was her medical cot, did she receive that yet?
I'm here, I can answer that. It is due any day now. So we're just waiting for it to come, but I did get a call that it is in finally, and they were going to ship it soon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Marilyn. Anything
Yes.
else?
The only other thing I had to report is that Deputy Anthony is set to take his test on November 18th for American Board of Medical Legal Death Investigators certification, which if he passes or when he passes, that will be all three of us will have that certification in the office. So we're excited.
Okay.
That's
Thanks,
all.
Marilyn.
Thank you.
Yep. Moving on, the sheriff's office. Deputy Carlson.
I believe the sheriff, was he gonna join on Zoom? I'm not sure if he's on.
Yeah, I'm on. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So just going through my report here, I'll just breeze through it. We 119 people we booked in last month, and I believe our calls were 1,059. So again, we're slowing down for the year as compared to the 1,800 that we would see in the summertime. The rest of the documents are just the reimbursements for the jail for the safety, or not safekeepers, but DOC holds and sanctions. Any other questions on the financials at all that are attached as well?
Mr. Baker. I was just waiting for a question.
Not at this point, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I just got a general question. I don't know if it's not really on for the reports.
Go ahead. Is this for Sheriff York? The
Yes.
question? Okay.
Is any of your staff currently under investigation, including investigators or officers?
Under investigation.
Off for investigation, I guess is the.
I'm not following your question, I guess.
Are any of the officers or investigators out of your department right now under investigation?
No, the only one I would say is the officer that was involved in also involved death. That case is being reviewed by the district attorney's office. So I don't know if that's where you're referring to, but otherwise, not criminally, I guess.
So the only investigator or officer that's off is that officer, correct?
Scott, Scott, I don't know if you want to bring that up at a public meeting.
Well, it's just a general question. He doesn't have to bring up names. I mean, I guess I'll let it go as it is.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thanks. All right. What else you got, Sheriff York?
I would say that's all I had for any of those reports.
Any other questions for Sheriff York? If not, we'll move on to the expense report. Any questions on that? Seeing none, discuss or act on dispatch schedule.
Could I guess share a slide with you guys to share my screen, or
I made you the co-host.
okay. How do I share on this? I'm not seeing the share. View options. I'm not sure how to share my screen. I'm not seeing what I normally would see, I guess, the share options.
This is something you can share. I can give you permission.
Chris, are you able to
I just
share it?
How to get my Zoom. Opened up
Oh,
here.
okay.
Doing any good, Chris?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Brent, is this something that the committee needs to be discussing?
Well, I guess the direction I got from the county manager was that, the schedules are set by the county board. And I guess big picture with it, I wanted to just to share the history with it because it does impact the budget and overtime numbers. I can go through it though. I guess I have it. I guess you just maybe can't see it or as Chris gets it there. But basically I want to talk about the dispatch schedules and hours. Just an overview for dispatch. They work 8-hour shifts right now. So we have 3 different 8-hour shifts per day where there's 2 dispatchers working per shift. And we have a total of 9 dispatch positions. So the issue or the concern is since going to PTO from vacation, dispatchers are using more PTO hours as compared to vacation, which is causing more open shifts. So I have these, if Chris gets this up, I guess, but for vacation hours. So we went back to 2017 when we had vacation and we had 1,993 hours of vacation that dispatchers used in 2017. In 2018, the vacation hours was 2,181. And in 2019, it was 1,796 hours. So in 2020, we switched mid-year from vacation to PTO. So we don't use 2020 because it was a partial year. And in 21, when we went to PTO hours, we had 2,579 PTO hours. So as you can see, from 17, 18, and 19 ranged from 1,796 to 2,181, and going to PTO, we went to 2,579 hours. And in 22, so far this year, as of October 31st, the last payroll, we're at 2,117 hours of PTO time. So a lot more shifts, as you can see from vacation time. And so our overtime budget for dispatch for both 21, 22, and 23, I don't have 23 on that slide, is $30,000. In 21, we spent 64,000 in overtime, and in 22, we've spent $69,000. So as you can see, because of the increased PTO hours, we're spending a lot more overtime because we have to fill most every shift at overtime. We do have 3 part-time dispatchers at this time, and this year so far we spent about $20,000 in on-call or part-time dispatchers filling those open shifts. And so the proposal, or what we talked about during the budget process with HR and Cynthia, is to change the schedule going to a 12-hour schedule. Some of the reasons for that is it's employee benefit. It's advantageous to the employees. They like to work the 12-hour schedule. And the schedule coincides with the rest of the department for jail and patrol for scheduling. And what that does is it gives the employees more time off on the weekends, which is where we're seeing a lot of the PTO time used. But there is a cost to go to the 12-hour schedule, and that cost is $46,910 is what we have it estimated as. We feel that the 12-hour schedule is further advantageous to the staff and us to because it's desirable by them. I mean, people want to work that schedule as opposed to the 8-hour schedule. The difference also is we don't have to add any new staff for the 12-hour schedule. It would be 2 dispatchers, the similar as what we do now, except for there's 2 shifts a day instead of 3. So we believe that by moving to this, it would actually save us on overtime. And so yeah, it's brought up here today because I went through the process with HR and Cynthia. Cynthia had sent me a message saying that it's not in the budget. There's not money in the budget for it. It would have a obviously the increased impact, and I certainly understand that. I think big picture, it needs to be considered because of staffing as well. So I wanted to bring that up here because Cynthia's email said that it's set by the county board, and so I'm here to I guess talk about it and see if we can proceed to that.
Well, here's what I'm struggling with. We're not here on a daily basis. This committee and this county board is not here on a daily basis. So for us to have input on this is kind of a stretch, it's kind of a reach. And I think that's something, personally, I think that needs to work through HR and county manager. That's my position. Any other comments? Cynthia?
Mr. Chair, I'm going to read the response that I actually gave the sheriff, and I think that having it on the agenda today may be just a way to potentially, I'm just going to say it, undermine my final decision, which was not to move forward with this. My communication was as follows. I'm always happy to work with you on staffing efficiencies. You have a lot of creative ideas. Since the start of 2023 budget process, I've been looking into your request to change the dispatcher's schedule from an 8 to 12-hour shift. I've been going through email communications and reviewing responses from Kyle Patterson, indicating that there is not a proposed savings to your plan. I have also held meetings with Michelle Waltzmath and Kyle Patterson to understand the numbers. Unfortunately, the result is that your proposal will end up having a negative impact on the budget, meaning there are additional costs to the county. I sent you an email on October 10th, 2022, letting you know that I was told that the 12-hour shift was not justified, nor was it in the budget. On October 11th, 2022, you sent an email to Kyle Patterson, Michelle Waltzmath, and me expressing your opposition to the decision. However, the ultimate decision resides with administration. Taking all the information I have been provided into consideration, your request is officially denied. As you know, there are certain constitutional and statutory functions of the sheriff related to law enforcement and that the county cannot intrude upon. Establishing shift times and shift lengths for dispatch is not one of them. We can turn to the statutes and the county board for guidance. Wisconsin statute 59.22 sub 2. I can't see it here, but I think it's sub C, sub 1. In summary, the county board establishes regulation of employment for any person paid from the county treasury. Therefore, the situation with the dispatch hours is a regulation of employment, so it's within the county board's authority. Please know that I am not trying to be confrontational. I am always willing to work with you for mutual benefit, the benefit of your department and the benefit of the county as a whole. We all have to be aware that there is not unlimited amount of funds in Adams County. Every choice we make has to be methodical and sustainable. We must constantly look for efficiencies where we can. The decision to forego the proposed change in the shift schedule is how it stands for the current 2022 proposed, or the 22 and proposed 23 budgets. This decision doesn't mean we can't visit it again in the future.
All right, we're gonna move on. This whole thing, I think, should have been worked out or to this committee. And if it has been, then you don't like the answer, you know, it's something you still have to work out. So that's my position. Anybody else want to weigh in on it, Don?
Yeah, coming from the fire service and working 24-hour shifts. And I understand where Sheriff York is coming from with dispatchers. And our line of work, dispatchers are probably our most important people. And when you're forcing people to work overtime, it's called burnout. Not only that, it leads to family problems, daycare issues. and stuff like that. So all I would say to the county administrators, please consider this. My background is in the fire service. We've had different forms of shifts, and it does take a strain on the workers. And it's very sad when you get a good dispatcher in there and your life is relying on what their information they're giving you. And not only that, overworking them. So it's nice to have time off and regroup and then go back to your job. So really consider this 12-hour proposal that the sheriff is thinking about.
All right, thanks, Don.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, go ahead, Scott, I believe.
23 years in corrections. We did 8-hour shifts. We moved to 10-hour shifts. There was a lot of adversity, people working long hours. 12-hour shifts in corrections at least was unbearable. Nobody wanted to do it. They finally gave up and threw in the hat. I definitely agree with you, Bob. We hire somebody to look into this type of stuff. She had the human resource manager with her. I just think it's a bad idea.
All right, we're gonna move on. Thanks to all.
No,
Oh, Mike's got. I don't mean to shortchange you, Mike, so go ahead.
thank you. My wife was a dispatcher for 11 years, so I can attest to what Don said as far as the seriousness of the position. These people want a 12-hour day. They're not being forced into it, which would make a difference, I think, maybe from what Scott had to say. If the numbers are correct, in 2022, so far to date, we paid over $69,000 in overtime. I can see that this issue is going to continue in 2023, where the cost from what is presented to us is $46,910. So I would think that somewhere down the road, there's going to be a cost savings to the county by going to a 12-hour day. Again, the mental health of these people is very important. And I think I've been in some of the meetings where, you know, we have to take care of our county employees. We're giving them decent raises. We want to keep them here. But if you don't go to a 12-hour day and you lose people because of that, now you have to take a dispatcher, make them a field training officer, and the new dispatcher coming on really isn't going to count towards your shift minimums because they don't know anything for a period of several months at least till they learn the ins and outs of the dispatch procedure. So I guess I would suggest as well as Don that the 12-hour schedule for the dispatchers be considered very strongly. Thank you.
Okay. We're gonna move on. Everyone's had a chance. So we're gonna leave that back in the hands of management and the sheriff's department. Okay. Number 16. Upcoming agenda items, start of staffing changes to the sheriff's department. We'll come back in December. You want to address that quickly, just to let them know why it's in December?
What was that again?
Number 16, if you got that.
Hold on, I got it.
Okay,
I have my email here.
you had done some research on this and you're not quite ready yet. Is that what I gather on that? So talk about it in December.
Mr. Chair, yes, more time's needed.
Okay. All right, with that, set the next meeting date. December 14 is what is suggested. All right, we'll set it tentatively for that. If there's any change, we'll let you know. With that, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for attending.